and institutions. It is March 13th, and we are picking up some previous language from our capital bill of last year that deals with Williston. And this deals with our old state police barracks, which once we can move things out of there, we will, the thinking was we put the property up for sale. Last year we had the town of Williston was interested in possibly having first right of refusal on that property. And the question that we struggled with is, do they get it for fair market value? Do they get it for less than that? The town wanted, of course, to get it for less than that. There's quite a bit of value in that property, not the building, but the land. There's quite a bit of value there. So we put in some language in last year's capital bill pertaining to what our intent is for the town of Williston. And we put in that Williston would report back to us in terms of whether the town desires to purchase the property. And if they do desire to purchase the property, what would be the feasibility of the town purchasing the property, to also include conditions on the sale of the property, and that the town would also look at potential future uses of the property. And we wanted to allow time for Williston to really seek out, because they hadn't really at the time last year formalized any specific use for this property. They had some conceptual thoughts, but nothing was really firm. So we wanted to give Williston time to figure that out. And I just want an update on where the town of Williston is. So Eric, why don't you come on up?
May I ask reference point on where we're talking?
Last year's capital bill,
Okay,
okay? It is page 19, section 16. It's not on the spreadsheet, it's not.
okay.
So next week, you folks will have a better concept of the capital bill, because we are going to be going over the actual language draft of our capital bill next week. Okay. For that. So Eric, welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee, for having me back this year. I'm Eric Wells, Town Manager in Williston, Vermont. On behalf of the Williston Select Board, I want to thank the committee and the General Assembly for the opportunity to submit the intent report. I submitted a letter on behalf of the town in January to outline our work and discussions we had over the last several months. So ultimately, the town has decided it's not interested in moving forward with the purchase of the property. We had some good conversation locally. Some primary uses we're looking at we're exploring a town community center within our Grove Center area, which is part of Taft Corners, where this property is. We're finding the acreage of this parcel isn't the right size for what I was looking for. It's about a 3-acre parcel. We're looking for something more 7 to 10 acres, including some parkland. So we've been exploring that a bit over the last year, looking at some other options, and this just isn't the right site for that use. We also explored a goal of the town is adding more housing, more affordable housing. We had some conversations to see if the town could find a partner that might be able to help with redeveloping it for affordable housing. I'm trying to think if there was a structure for the town to be the conduit for that to occur, working with the legislature. We weren't able to find a partner for that. One thought is if we were able to, I would come back and report to you this year that that might be an option to consider, but we weren't able to find a partner. The select board wanted to voice its desire to, as the state looks for potential uses of that property. Certainly considering housing would be a good option. It's the state's decision how it wants to sell that land. The other thing I wanted to mention this morning is the town, in looking at the future grid streets for the area and the Circ Alternatives study in 2014. This was after the circumventual highway wasn't going to move forward under the Shumlin administration. A number of transportation projects are scoped in Chittenden County and put in different tiers. One part of that scoping projects in 2014 is looking at future grid streets in this area. And there's one that was scoped then, kind of east-west grid street. I provided a visual to Committee Assistant Petty this morning. I have a hard copy as well, if that's part of our discussion. But part of the grid street would be envisioned to be on the southern section of this parcel. So on behalf of the select board, the town would be interested in maintaining some future right-of-way or options for that grid street to be created in the future, should it become probable here.
So if we sell the property, we'd have to make sure that there was some right of way for this?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the exact tool mechanism may be. Part of our zoning may require some access with a drive there as well, depending on what the redevelopment, if it was redeveloped, would look like. But thinking about if there's an option for the town to have some right of way or part of a discussion here for that. Town wants to make sure that could be an option in the future as we build out grid streets and not to lose an opportunity there as well.
Right.
Is that just a simple, like from 2A to Sycamore? Is that what you're looking at there?
Yeah. It might be helpful. I could hand out a visual if it would be helpful for the committee.
Would help.
This is a screenshot from the 2014 scoping study. Apologies, so it's a little blurry, but staff was able to pull this up for me yesterday.
Oh, I
How,
see. Yeah.
how far away
That was,
from doing this are you?
We'd still be a ways away from it.
5 years, 10 years?
Yeah, and part of this with the Circ Alternatives project is seeing if there ends up being federal highway money to assist with that. And also if the town's going to look to make more of a local investment in this, that
look, is that hard? It's going all the way to Harvard. Yeah, that's what I go.
yeah, the section on the right-hand side of the map where you can see the former Barrett's property says connection to police in the
Yep.
black rectangle. So the parcel is that section of the road that would loop around, and this is where Old Navy and Dick's Sporting Goods
Yep.
are right now.
So you don't need, the right of way is just for between that curve between 2A and to Sycamore.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, just on the southern edge of that Barrett's parcel right now.
So it would be along right in here?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Just on that parcel by the
Isn't that like white square is the intersection?
Is there a
East.
road there now?
No.
No, so that's what would be put
All
there.
this is new.
There's a road off,
Oh.
off screen here. There's a road that's
This
essentially,
is all new. But connects to existing, but there's a road over here and there's a road over here, but this is all.
Okay, so is there, where that new street, and then you've got that white rectangle,
That's the police barracks.
police barracks?
correct.
The Sunoco station's right here.
Everything due west going down towards Home Depot, that's a future envisioned Depot Street. That's
gotcha.
conceptual at this point. The town is exploring a tax increment financing district for this area right now. I'm doing a feasibility study. It may be possible that some of this infrastructure could be part of that scope, but we're right in the middle of that and don't have a final decision on that yet for a proposal.
So how much? I'm looking at the BTS here. Where, do you have this? Do you have a copy of this? Can somebody give that to John? Right now, for our land for state police, it's that white rectangle where it says new street. How much, where does our property for that barracks go on this map? Do you know offhand?
Where it says New Street on the police barracks,
Yeah,
the bottom of those letters would be our property. So basically our property line is on right at the edge of the pavement. So this actually would, reading this right, may not be on our property.
where that new street would go.
How far east does it go? Does the property go all the way to that Sycamore Street? Behind the barracks, beyond the parking?
No, our property is basically the paved portion around the building.
So you don't own that?
Green space, the green space behind it, no.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it is this right here.
I don't believe we do. I'd have to check the map, but I think we pretty much match that.
Okay.
So then you would not need a right of way.
I can have to confirm that.
Well, there must be a reason you think you do, so.
Well, I think, as there's opportunities to have a right of way and, that's another landowner's property there. If as part of these conversations, that was an option for the town to have from the state. Roads can shift to a varying degree, and this is a 10-year-old scoping study. So if, as the town's looking to piece things together and make sure we have right of way and property use easements for any future public infrastructure, you see it as an opportunity to just bring that point forward to this
Yeah.
committee at this point.
Have you had conversations with the abutting landowner?
Not at this point.
No.
It's the owner of Maple Tree Place.
It is.
Owns that parcel.
Okay. One more.
Yeah,
You're giving up. You're like, we don't have the capacity to buy that right now.
Correct.
How worried are you about losing that control
Of the,
of that, of what goes in there? And I know you've expressed your desire, like it'd be great if the state could suggest that housing go there, but
I think at this point, the select board's position is we're understanding this is a valuable piece of property.
Yeah.
The town is assessing the future of its grand list as we see commercial property valuation fluctuate over the past couple of years. We do see housing as a more stable assessment. But the town is looking for that site for if it's redeveloped, the town would hope it's maximized for its grand list value. Or that being said, also housing for an option there. So the town's position is the state's going to sell it. They're just hoping to have a good future use there and partner for the town. And we're interested in future public infrastructure needs for the area.
Just a hypothetical, Eric, it's, as we go through some of these things, I'm trying to redefine what valuable is for the state, right? Us selling it and getting that initial bump, to me, is less valuable than having housing units, affordable or not, there that contribute to our tax base, that, by revitalize Williston downtown. And this property is like, it's on public transport. Somebody could walk to Shaw's. They don't need a car. If the state were, this is the hypothetical, just to divest ourselves of that land, would you be able to find a partner? 3 acres isn't much, but you could build like low-rise apartments, probably 50, 75 there, which is a good chunk of units, If the state divested that land, would you be able to find a partner to build housing there?
I'll say potentially. I mean, we had some initial conversations just privately for the select board, and there was some initial concern about the cost per unit on the space. Also not knowing if there need to be some site remediation completed. Just knowing some former uses there, just not knowing a full scope of the land, just from a cursory standpoint of it. I think the town would certainly welcome an opportunity to maybe broaden those conversations to see if there's other potential partners out there. But the town itself wouldn't be in a position to be a lead developer, and we'd have to essentially acquire the property, then just immediately transfer it to the third party developer to make that vision a reality.
Mm-hmm.
If we can be the conduit to help facilitate that, we see that as a role the town could play, but we also don't want to hold the property, purchase the property, hold the property, and not be sure of the viability for redevelopment. We want to just move that along off our assets.
Yep.
so for,
Location.
Joe,
Madam Chair, just clarification. It's just on our property ends, the backside of that, just on the tree line between the pavement and the property. So where that drive does curve around, the state does not own.
so where that green area is, we do not own that.
That is correct.
It goes right to the end of the parking lot.
Basically, yes.
So we have given BGS authority to sell this property in previous capital bills. That is still there. I don't believe that needs to be renewed based on the report back from the city of Williston that they're really at this point not interested in obtaining this property. So that frees up BGS to sell the property, correct?
Yes.
So the property is not empty yet. We got to work on that with trying to find another location for the equipment that is stored there, which is been part of our capital bill. I'm concerned about the right of way. That I don't know how, even if it's 100 feet, you might need 100 feet or 50 feet or something. That would have to be included in the sale, I would envision, wouldn't it, Joe? I mean, that would have to be,
Well, if it was enacted in town, yes, otherwise we sold the property. And, we should divulge that that is what the town of Williston is looking to do, is to go through there. But I think as this is laid out here, I don't believe it's on property. I think it's on the property south to us.
can we make sure of that?
I would have to find exactly where that road is, and then we can confirm that, but if you have through the subsequent. If they actually have that laid out, it looks like it's just. Stopping the property.
Joe?
I mean, the town of Williston would, there are statutory right of ways that are set from center lines depending on what your road class is. That no town or state needs any extra language for. But, anything beyond that, a right of way or an easement is a de facto property transfer. So you're making the property less valuable, in which case there would have to be enumeration for that.
Right, but if we're selling the property, you have to at least let the new potential owner know about this particular situation.
I don't think so.
I think that would be fair for the state to do that on behalf of Williston. That's one of their concerns. That Williston just put on the table, right?
Correct. Ultimately, I'm here for the town's position, we'd like to see these grid streets built at some point in time. And if it becomes a barrier with a future sale, and this is the map drawn over 10 years ago, we haven't scoped it since then. And that road could shift to the north onto the current property as well. I think we want to ensure that we have opportunity to look at building this public infrastructure in the future. And if there's an opportunity to carve that out as part of this, that's our advocacy to consider.
A silly question. Who owns the green space that the road is in? You guys own that?
No, it's the Acadia, which owns Maple Tree Place. It's that green. It's kind of a green mound between the Sunoco station and the Barracks property.
And who owns on the other side of the new street, the green area there?
Maple Fields.
That's also Maple Tree?
Maple Tree, yeah.
Yeah, they own a section. There's another private property owner. Velco has an easement through there with a substation, I believe, as well.
That brings up another question, right? Which is, if they own all around this, has the state looked into whether or not they'd be interested in this parcel?
We have not.
Yes.
No?
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yes, they would be.
Nice little rectangle there.
Then you would need to negotiate with them on the right of way.
Right.
Because then,
Which you already have to do.
if Maple Tree was to purchase whereas property is now, then it's all, everything is all under Maple Tree. And regardless where the new road would go, you still would have to get a right of way from there.
Correct. As we always in public infrastructure, trying to piece together land use and right of ways. We see this as certainly a valuable one as a connected to a.
Who owns to the west of?
That would be Jeff Davis.
You have approached them,
We've had an active dialogue with them about the future of that land. We're certainly looking at that Depot Street connection is a critical piece for the town and traffic.
Yeah.
But Joe, wouldn't the putting that right away in there, that street, wouldn't that make the land more valuable? Because then they have an access from not getting onto that, like, who wants to drive, like, it's tough enough getting on and off the road when you're coming, like in the gas station, it's a nightmare. Try to go back,
I'm not trying to be mean, but this is not an adequate site plan to.
Right.
Make a determination.
So 100 feet, let's just pretend it wouldn't be 100 feet, I doubt, but out of 3 acre parcel, the whole length, that's a lot of land out of a small parcel. But
It just seems so to me that somebody wants site control of a property that, by definition, that site control at any level has some value. And it would seem logical that the state of Vermont gets some remuneration for that. Because you're basically encumbering the property. And it's plausible, like you said, Sean, who knows?
Yeah.
But I mean, this isn't enough, testimony to be able to make that determination.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's a conceptual, we're just responding to Williston, wanting to know that there's some flexibility there.
Yeah.
For possibly needing a right of way. That's what your concern is.
Correct.
That's your concern. And that's what we're trying to figure out, is that something language we put in contingent on the sale, that Williston, that they work, knowing there might be a right of way issue or not, or just stay silent on it and have Williston stay in contact with BGS on this.
Mhm.
Because we don't know when the property is gonna go up for sale either. So it all depends when we can move the equipment out of it.
There's potential in our local zoning. We've talked to our planning director on redevelopment of the parcel. If that current building was removed and redeveloped with different structures there, having them front on Route 2A, there's going to be access in there. And so there may be a requirement in our zoning to then put an access road in there or a driveway. And we want to make sure if that's the case, we have the potential to make that a public street someday if we're going to connect it around back.
A little bit off topic, but since you're going around back, do you guys own the streets inside of Maplefield or Maple Tree Place, or do they own them? So you're just gonna take a public road and connect it in there?
Yeah, there's, believe some of the smaller streets in there are private and then the town has a public street.
You know, like out back, like furthest where the golf course and stuff is, or whatever that is, driving range is.
Where the driving range, yeah, kind of the road that goes through, there's a public road.
That's a public road.
Other questions?
No.
I think at this point, everything's sort of, so Williston's not interested in the property,
Correct.
like you were last year. But you do have concerns about a right of way after the potential sale. I don't know if the committee wants to talk further about that with BGS, if BGS could make sure where your boundaries, I'd like to make sure BGS is clear where the boundaries are. For that.
I'm down clear where our boundary is. I just don't know where this overlay is exactly. If we have better detail of that, we could actually see if it encroaches our property, it's on property or not.
Yeah. Is that something Williston and you folks could work through?
Certainly, yeah, we'd be happy to just share notes and maps and.
Great.
And then,
Determination here.
and then
Take a field trip.
to figure out if there would be a right of way issue or not, and then let us know. I mean, maybe it's something we can work through for the sale when we eventually sell or not. Maybe it's all taken care of because it's not going to impede our boundaries.
Yeah, certainly we could have a discussion and I could have our zoning administrator involved as well to kind of look at the different mechanism here.
So we're clear.
So, Madam Chair, Wanda Manoli for the record, I mean, I think that I can commit that we will have these discussions with Williston and really see where the property lines are. I'm not sure if you have to move the bill forward, if you need to put something in that, but we're not gonna put the building up for sale. And I think we've talked about where we're at right now with the building, so we have some time to really evaluate this and get it right. I mean, you know, Williston's been a good partner with the shelter and working with us. And we've talked about how we're using that until the new shelter is built. And then we still have to find a location for the storage, so
A lot of
there's
things
time for us to really work on this and come up with what makes sense for the state of Vermont and for Williston.
So I would encourage at this point for you folks to talk, and what I'm envisioning is maybe next year you might have some language. For that.
To leave you on a positive note, Williston was my only vacation stop this week, so you're doing good.
Good to have.
Got my tide.
Free popcorn tonight.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you. Thank you all. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
3 minutes.
Thank you.
And 5.
And you guys know what you're looking at, right?
Yeah, no.
I know they didn't.
No, Mary's all over it.
Well, there's two of you, other two people.
No, Mary and I and Kevin all know what
Right.
we're doing.
You didn't before.
No, I know, we do now. She asked you this morning because we didn't know.
I know. And now you're clear, right?
Now we're clear.
That works.
Crystal. Crystal.
Learning experience. Okay, let's shift gears real quick, folks. We had some questions on section 2. This is section. And we do have a document that was sent to us, and Cole is going to share his screen and put the responses up there. Oh, boy, I gotta get my. You need the 2 spreadsheets, you need the cash sheet. Dokey. Yep. Need all sorts of spreadsheets. So if you're leaving,
I can stay for a little bit if you'd like, Madam Chair.
you have one
Just
question.
barely got there.
I've been down in Senate Economics Development.
Questions? Well, are you gonna be around? You'll be around, right? I got a question that pertains to DMV.
Oh, it sounds personal.
It is personal. I'm sorry, personal.
I helped Joe out yesterday.
We weren't here.
Good stuff.
Doing it on YouTube.
I'm gonna be back, so I'll come
Oh,
find,
you're gonna be at the 12 o'clock meeting.
that was at 12:30, are we at 12? It was, and I do,
It's the Women's Caucus meeting.
well,
12.
that's at 12, and then I'm not going to but then at 12:30, don't we have a meeting with Nick?
Well, I was gonna cancel that because I'm tied up at the
Oh.
12 o'clock meeting.
I will find you during the lunch hour, Madam
I'll
Chair.
be down in room 10,
Okay.
12 o'clock. I thought you were gonna talk to the Women's Commission.
I'm having my team do it because I've been pulled in so many other directions.
Okay, I just,
But I will be there, but we're there in force.
okay. Well, if you and I can connect on one simple question.
I get some DMV issues too.
Okay.
I don't have an issue, I have a question. I don't have an issue, I have a question. So, Paul, if you could put up on the screen the planning, reuse and contingency thing is what I want to get into.
Can you allow?
Mary, what do you think?
Oh, let me in, then I didn't,
So while they're doing that, for
Yeah.
folks, okay? Let me see if I can figure this one out. Weeks of 6.
Don't take it personal.
You're stuck here.
Exactly.
Stuck here now.
Love
Where did Connor go? Back. So for planning and reuse, folks. We have an FY 23 and FY 24. You're gonna have to write this down, because it's not up there. 1.12 million, 1,120,000.
Give that number again.
1,120,000. Okay, in this bill, our bill, there is 425,000 of that that's been reallocated. So that leaves 695,000. Okay,
Was the reallocation, I'm so sorry, I'm a little bit.
425. So that leaves of the 1.12 million, 695,000. In FY 25, we put in 250,000. In FY 26, we put in 250,000. So that's 500,000, that's 500,000. And you add that to 695 is 1195. Okay? And then they are asking in FY 26 and FY 27 for another 500,000.
Mhm.
Okay?
Fine too.
So that brings them up to 1.6 million.
The end of 27.
Right.
So our question was, how is the money being used? And do they need the full 250 and 250? So this is the document that you submitted. So Joe, I'm assuming you are going to explain it.
Yes. Is everybody else available on me except for Cole? So this here is what we're looking at, and it's broken out how we're looking to be using the funds that we have, along with everything else that we potentially is coming up for, looking at studying Montpelier and parts of the rest of the state, with telework and how full our facility, our buildings are. So here we're looking at some general reuse, and that is just that, when we require somebody to move or reoccupy space, something like that, we have to. It's not in their budget to move them or refit up a little space, something like that, so that's what we're looking to do that. And we have our reuse study that goes to telework and the likes of that we're looking to chase. Our elevator study that we're looking at doing is what I've seen here, is we keep having issues over and over with elevators. The elevator companies have something called a mod. It's modernization, the elevators, but I really don't think it helps us out. It updates some of the items, but not everything that we should be doing and trying to get a real 20-year lifespan out of elevators. So I'm gonna go through the state and do an elevator study to find out exactly how old our elevators are at the last modernization, and looking at code and what we should be doing and how much capital bill funds I'd be asking for in the future. Very similar with public safety boilers. We've replaced them now in St. Albans. And those facilities have been in place for almost 20 years now. And so I'm doing the same thing as to where we should be with our boilers. St. Albans was pellet and natural gas. We had pellet in Westminster. And so I'm looking at the other facilities, Royalton, and the likes of that, of what we should be looking at in the future. The Caledonia Courthouse plaster study, that's an interesting one. We were chasing our tails on that one, where paint is peeling and plaster is failing. We're not sure if it's because we insulated the building several years ago, and if that's trapping moisture someplace. So that's what we're looking to do that study on, and then other emergency studies that are coming up. One never knows. One the other day, based on what I learned on the State House chimneys here that we have capped, they actually need airflow, not just capping the chimneys. So I'm going to be throwing out there another a chimney study to find out what we should do with these, because I do have one at a chimney at 128 that is starting to fail. And so if it's due to moisture, throughout the state, we have gone around and capped old chimneys, historic chimneys that we're not using, and that could be an issue. I had not thought of that when we put that $100,000 into that line item. And the contingency is just that prices are coming in higher and higher that we're not expecting. Some of those are due to rough guess when we put the project out to bid on what we internally in BGS Design Construction think it's going to cost. We do sometimes on larger projects, when a design team does it, put those bids together. Estimates together before the bid, but we're still finding out that at any point in time, it's more than what we had planned on. And so the other is for that contingency for these projects that are coming out.
So you're requesting to retain the 1.575. Where is that coming from for you? Because we are at 1.695 total.
That I would have to check that.
Does that include your 250 and 250? What we have remaining for you. For two. I did that right when we started off story. 425.
Careful doing math in public.
Yeah, I know. I did this at home. 6 and 2, 7. So numbers don't add up. That's what I'm kind of wondering.
Hold on just a second. I don't have the 23, 24, but I'm
Well, I don't know. It's not 23.
23.
It's gotta be 24, 25.
Right, so
It's
that's
24.
what I was just looking at. You had,
24, 25.
we give them, we reallocated 425, but there's a typo. Look at the FY 25 readjustment, went from 425 to 455. What's that about?
Where are you?
I'm on the last,
Right.
look at,
We did 425 and 455. Did I use the wrong number?
well, look at FY 20, look at column F versus column,
I used the wrong number.
and I'm wondering,
I used the wrong number.
you might have used 425. then.
This is the first one I did and I used the wrong number.
You aren't warmed up yet.
No, I wasn't. I used the wrong number. I used the top number. I went up the line above. That's what I did.
Yeah. So
So you've
we
got,
did reallocate that 425.
yeah, you've got 880, but you also had cash.
Oh, I didn't.
You also had, yeah, this is FY 24 and 25 also had $620,
Yes.
620,000 in cash. So you had 620,000 cash and 880 of bond.
Yeah. That gives us 1.5.
1.5, and there's a reallocation of 425.
.075.
Yeah. On top of, that's, okay, that does add up.
.575. Yeah.
Yeah, that does add up.
Yep.
Okay.
Joe was right.
So this is a 1.075 plus the 500 for this time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't do
So it all adds up. It started out wrong. It started out wrong. Sorry, I looked at the wrong.
This is a nerve wracking moment.
Who, me?
Yeah, I was nervous the whole time.
I don't think you were. I don't think you were. You justified your case
it.
to keep the money.
The contingency's high, but I understand in the reasons, that's for sure.
But remember, folks, they can move money between projects in section 2. I don't want to slight them, but I just want to put that on the table so people can think that through as well. To realize that they are allowed to move money between projects
Within the section.
within that section.
And it's certainly,
They can do that. They've got 8 million. Change a little bit up or down for major maintenance.
Well, just a reminder, is there any specific reason that the cash is there or just the cash needs to go somewhere?
You move it to bonding.
Okay.
It's just trying to use up the cash.
Needs to get
They're
used.
trying to do.
The, my take on this is that it'd be one of the places I'd be more comfortable circling to, that if we find in a few days that we're over, that this would be a place to, one of the first places I would be interested in looking to, as Joe would call it, a haircut. But because of the reallocation of or moving around ability. Not because I think you don't need it, but if we were in a pinch, this would be one of the clearer places to look, I think.
Other folks?
What do you think, Connor?
A little late for the party, so.
This
least
is a
you're here.
building and reuse. This is planning and reuse. Okay, they have in hand, right now, Connor. They have in hand 1.075 million. And then you add another 500,000 for 2 years. Gives them 1.57 million for 2 years.
And that's how they plan on spending it.
50 of that is in cash.
The question on the table
And
is,
250 of that's
is
in
this a place
cash.
you might sniff a little?
Yeah.
Still want to hold off on this, folks? See where we are in the bottom line?
Well, I mean, you can make a note, see where we are.
I wouldn't mind holding off for the time being, you know, that's.
But I'm perfectly happy with the testimony we've heard on.
200,000 there, too, don't forget.
Is it 200,000?
It was on the stack area.
Sorry, we're giving that back.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're giving that back?
I do not foresee that changing the stack area, us doing anything until we resolve what we're doing with Montpelier.
Yeah, it's all for future time.
Sounds like you're trying to guilt us into not cutting here too.
Yes.
Still a little bit about the 680, but.
Sorry about that. That's funny. Not everybody's in the room doing that.
Right, yeah. It's like-
But I think we corrected it before you spent it.
So let's go to the next one, which is the Rutland Multilingual Garage, which this one is. Do this.
Yeah, that thing.
There was 600,000 from previous appropriations for this. And there's 403,000 left. And then there's an additional 600,000 in bonded dollars that's being asked. And what I'm hearing, it's a $2 million project total. And they're asking for that in 28 and 29. So what is this 1 million gonna give us to get us to 28 and 29?
Somewhat of a two-phase project, what we're looking at. So what we're chasing now will be repairing of the concrete that's down there. We just 3 months ago installed temporary shoring under the main beam when you come up the entrance ramp, it comes to the first deck. Because that has deteriorated from the salt a little bit too much. So we temporarily shorted that up and have gone through and removed some of the falling or ready to fall chunks of concrete so it doesn't fall on people's vehicles. And then we're coming back through and we'll have construction manager now to come in and late summer, fall to be spending those funds to do a temporary long-term temporary 10+ year patches on these. Because really it's what we're doing in parking garages is we're removing the damaged concrete. Cleaning up all the steel rebar and patching. And so we're looking at doing that again in the phase 2. There's also some things of where this is a square, somewhat square garage, but in the center of that garage. there's an opening that goes all the way to the roof. And although it was capped when it was first constructed, it's a tempered glass or plastic style roof that's on there, and the snow slides off, pulls around, and then drops 4 stories onto the people at the bus station. So that is to, in the future, to be fixing stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like important maintenance.
Did I see a hand?
Well, I was gonna say that Phil, I believe on Tuesday, forwarded to us comments from Commissioner Manoli regarding this project as well. We see more. Oh, I'm sitting, it's a bad seat.
Yeah, it is.
Sorry.
So right now, this is all for concrete work to patch it and then to really dig it up and put in new rebar and concrete.
Right, what it is now is, we're out where some of that concrete has already, we've done it for safety. Now we'll be going back into for this project and going through and cleaning the rebar, but basically sandblasting the rebar off. Then putting in casting the concrete around it.
That didn't last long.
I'll bring in a new one.
Would it do
Bust
great? Good luck. Jesus.
I'll get it right.
Maybe you buy a container of pretzels.
Need a contingency budget. I think Joe wished for that upon.
My grandmother's gonna be mad about her Tupper one.
Yeah, really.
His great grand.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
Oh.
big.
Good to know you. Tupperware would.
So we have 600,000 in FY 26 to match. 600,000 to match the previous 400,000. So you have $1 million to work. And that's gonna get you through 26, fiscal year 26 and fiscal year 27. Where are we with this, folks?
If we can't get the garage away, I'm fine.
No,
Yeah.
don't ever own a parking garage.
No. I did, off the topic of the actual money, I really appreciate the you guys getting back to us with this information about the leases and, the agreements that are there for maintenance, et cetera, so. Makes me feel a little better, not tons, but a little better. Anyway, I support, we have to do this, as Gina said, I'd rather give the garage away, but that's not gonna happen.
So while we're at the Rutland Asa Bloomer, sort of, this is all, pretty much all the same area. I really need some clarity in terms of line 16, the Asa Bloomer building sewage system. And
On 6.
yeah, and we've been funding this building for a while. So right now for Asa Bloomer, we have total appropriations to date have been, this is what I'm trying to get my head around. We have 2.457 million, 2,457,000. The balance from that I saw was 305,000 is remaining. Where did that $2 million go?
It's been encumbered by the construction manager. So we're still finalizing design.
And that is for what?
That is the sewer and the roof design. So this, if I go back in history, Madam Chair.
Yeah, it's,
This started at a point years ago where, well, when we first constructed it, we could afford it and we had somebody operate the building for us to maintain it. Then at the end of 20 years, it reverted back to state. At that 20-year mark, and I believe it was under Commissioner Cole, when that took place. What we found out is, when the landlord left us with what was left.
yeah, right, a
And that
mess.
was everything out, end of life. So we have replaced the boilers, we replaced the fire alarm, we replaced air handlers, heat pumps, etc. And so that, those prior year funds have all gone to that. What we're looking at remaining now is the sewer that runs underneath the slab. And then also the roof and skylight project. We're looking to do right now is focus on the sewer portion of that. We'll complete the design for the roof, but the sewer is what we really want to get done next. And that is because anytime we do get heavy rain, we get sewage into the basement. We gotta get down there and clean it out. We've also have sewer gases that are coming into the building, so we're exhausting those constantly. So it's really how to tackle the sewer that runs underneath that basement slab before it becomes a structural issue. So that's what these funds are gonna be going for. So it's not the money that's encumbered, but the money that we are asking for.
You really, between the roofing and the skylight and the sewage, all of that is together, but you're really gonna do the sewage part first.
Yes.
And are you going, it's encumbered, so I also had a note that you were going out to bid this spring and the construction you think would start this summer and fall? And that would use you got the 305,000 that would go, so you've already, this is, what happened to that 2.1 million? Did you spend that?
It's encumbered with the construction manager. So what we have is when we go out with a construction manager bid, we take our best estimate and say, this is what we believe the project is going to cost. Provide us with what there are 3 fees, construction management fees. It's the home office, their profit and overhead and the likes of that. And there's general conditions. And I forget the third one off the top of my head right now. So we look at that and that's based on that estimate that we give them. They work through the design team, get a complete set of drawings, go out to bid for all the subcontractors. And then we settle on those at GMP, guaranteed maximum price. So that is where we get our final estimates. But what we're hearing from our construction manager is we're going to be needing these future funds to make this project.
So right now, between what we've put in the past and then the 1.5 million, you're at 3.9 million plus. And that total 3.9 million goes towards what you already have done in place to go out, encumber the funds, and then do the work on the roof and the sewage project. But the sewage one is the priority
That is correct.
of that, but it's all coming out of the 3.9 that you have. I know that's hard for people to follow, but
Where are we, Madam Chair?
well, you don't want to know.
Ace of Boomer.
Ace of
Ace of Bloomer, oh,
Yeah,
God, what's the
Carrie's-
gift that you're giving?
Yes.
Because there's a big chunk projected after that.
That was probably going to be the roof and skylight.
Yeah, I've seen up there.
No, that's the garage.
5 million.
Yes.
5 million
Pretty
will, the 5 million will complete the project.
Yeah, and that'll be the roof and the skylight. The skylight's really the issue on the inside. It's you can't get to it to do maintenance.
Right.
The snow slides off it, and once that builds up, it starts. And you get up here to 4 stories.
So what throws me is last year, the priority was really the roof. That's what's kind of throwing me. And now that it has shifted to the sewer.
And some of this we can do temporary patching. You know, it's when you're doing temporary patching, sometimes it's not, you know, a 1-foot square patch. Sometimes it's 5 feet wide, 6 feet wide, 20 feet long. To get us through these things. And also maintenance staff to go up there and shovel around the skylight, so we don't have the snow building up. That's that. So it's really about just the roof leaks we can handle, skylight leaks we can handle. What is worrisome is the basement filling up with raw sewage.
Yeah,
That's why we're tackling that first.
Right.
Yes, that could be a problem.
It's pretty
The good old
pretty bad
building
compared to rainwater.
just keeps
yes,
going on and on.
because it is
Okay,
combined storm and sewer, so that's where that.
it's a problem. Yeah. Okay, just so I was clear on what was up, because last year it was all about the roof and the skylight. So it's all one project sewer's now gonna be done first. And then,
What line item is that?
Six, not on the cash, on the,
Okay, that's,
uh.
yeah, thank you.
Yep.
okay,
Because we left with Dean.
physical security. We just wanted a little bit more information on that one.
Line are you on? There it is. I got it.
So they have. You had $500,000 in FY 24 and 25. And another $500,000 this year.
I've been talking to the director of security yesterday. I think that 68,000, they would have done almost nothing for a project that he's got coming up. So.
And then that's what you have left from FY 24. Is 68, which is basically gone.
Yeah.
And then, so for this year, FY 25, you got 250. And then you got 250 and 250. So I just want a little more update on that one. So for the committee, what are your thoughts? Keep it at 215, 250? It's not all jump in at once here.
Oh, my God.
What's a door strike?
The electric part here is when you go out the door, it's just that part that engages with the bolt.
Gotcha.
I would say keep it at that because it is
Yeah, this is.
physical security
Yeah.
and that's a must. So I would stay with it.
There you go, man.
So while you're here, Joe, I have some questions. That's so easy. That's so easy. I have questions on the 3-acre parcel. Thing. I just
Not my favorite topic.
just want some clarity on all of this 3-acre thing. So I just need clarity on the time frame.
Right, okay. Right now, we have permits in place for Pittsford, Middlesex, and Virgins. We're working on Montpelier, Northern State Correctional Facility, Waterbury, Northwest State Correctional Facility. We have, they're in the process, they're just going back and forth on what to do. Montpelier, his permit has not been submitted yet because there's so many other issues that we have to deal with. Some of the issues here in Montpelier are going to be capturing the water in the parking lots across the street from us, the side of State Street. And right now, we're looking at how that may or may not impact what we do in those parking lots. If we're working with FEMA, we drop them for two. That would not be the time, no sense doing the stormwater there first. But there's still a whole permitting process to get through as to whether or not they will accept what we're looking to do. And what we're looking to do is put chambers underneath the parking lot for that water to dissipate into. Leach back into the ground.
So this is where I really want to figure out what's going on. So for the committee, we have 3 million for the previous capital bill last year. And then we have 3 million this year. Right? Am I in the right place? I want to make sure I get it. So we got 6 million total for 3-acre. So this is where I want to make sure. So right now, what you said is we have the permits in place for Virgins, Middlesex, and Pittsford. And how much is that going to cost? And are you going out to construction this year for those three?
Working on that right now. So Pittsburgh, we're estimating 700,000.
Okay,
Middlesex, we're estimating 500,000.
Oh, right there.
okay,
For Jen's, 700,000.
okay.
Could you repeat that again?
700 for Pittsburgh,
I got 6 million total.
Yeah, so
500 for Middlesex. 700 for Jen's.
Thank you.
That's almost 2 million. So
1.9.
2 million. And you anticipate going out this year to do the work, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So then you got another million left from that's unaccounted for. So then where are you looking right now to try to get your permit in place? Go through that again.
Waterbury would be next up for permitting and probably getting the work done. We estimate Waterbury at 700,000.
700K. So that is next up to apply for the permit?
It's in the process, but yes.
So it's in the process.
And whether or not we would get to that this year for construction, I'm not sure. We may be able to bid it out and start in the spring.
The spring of
6/26.
26.
next year.
But I'm not up on exactly all the work that has to be done with that, so again, some of it could be done potentially late fall. But I can't say for sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna say bid out spring. Yeah, terrible notes here. Okay, so that one is the next one in line. That one could be 750,000.
750.
For 700, 750 or
700.
700?
Waterbury is 700.
700, okay.
What the hell is that?
It's some kind of a protest, but I can't see it.
Is it hard to get a permit? Is it pretty time consuming or is it pretty straightforward?
It's relatively straightforward. There are certain things where, our engineers will look at it one way and our app looks at it another way, and then we come to an agreement on how we tackle these things.
So then you're working through, it's in the process right now, getting the permit for the Waterbury complex. What is next?
Next up is sort of an either or type situation with either Northern State Correctional Facility or Northwest State Correctional Facility. At Northern State Correctional Facility, we have a lot of wetlands around that property, so that's becoming difficult on how to deal with the runoff up there. Northwest State is really about through permitting. They didn't like the engineer's idea of how they're going to capture the runoff and want us to take another look at it.
Who's they?
The permitting process.
Mm.
And so we're working on that, but both of those projects are large. And then part of that reasoning is perimeter road, it's over a mile. At both facilities is going to be paved, because right now it's a gravel road. What they do is come in, put down gravel. The gravel works its way further and further away from the drive path. And so the road sort of becomes wider and wider. So by paving it, we're actually going to be lessening our impervious surface. And keeping actually then and also keeping the correctional vehicle inside of a certain area of the road. And it'll also be easier to maintain in the long.
That's for both projects.
I know you've testified to that, and I know that's the rule, but that's bizarre.
Right now with the frost heaves and the lakes that we're almost getting some of those. I mean, some of those areas that are low are 8-10 inches deep, go for 15-20 feet long. And it's just that, once it gets there, operations and maintenance can't get there fast enough to put down more gravel, so that keeps just washing and washing. And the corrections goes wider and wider to try and stay out of that dip.
What's the rough estimate for cost in those?
$1 million each, and that's rough guess right now.
And when shovel in the ground, when?
Probably next year.
Next year being
26.
26.
during the summer,
Yes.
1 million each, so you're at 2 million there.
That's annoying.
So you had 3 million before.
Well, if there's a $3 million carryover and all those things were done before the end of 26, it's about on the money.
Well, of the 3 million from FY 24 and 25, you've got Virgin's at 700,000. You've got Middlesex at 500,000. And you got Pittsford at 750.
700.
700? Why do I have 750? Okay. Pittsford is 700. Virgin's is 700. It's 1.4.
So 1.9.
And then what's the other one?
1.9.
And then Middlesex is 500,000. So you got 1.9. Gives you 1.1 million. And then what you're anticipating for FY 26 is Waterbury at 700,000. And then you hope Newport and St. Albans. Is the Newport one, is that going to be connected at all to the boiler replacement up there?
We won't be in
Won't be in that area?
that area. We are taking the potential new boiler facility, if you will, into account in our stormwater calculations. So we've added some in there, so we're not doing stormwater yet again.
Uh-huh.
But until we're finalized design, I don't know if we're high or low in that guess.
So by the end of FY 26, you're anticipating having Waterbury complete and Newport and St. Albans
We
complete,
may also do some of them on Montpelier,
and some of Montpelier.
because there are plenty of parking lots in areas like I mentioned here with the shedding off of the water off the roof of the State House. Those are two areas before you get to the curb walks that will be treating the water that comes from the gutter.
Do you have an estimate on Montpelier costs?
So rough guess of $1 million, but I think it's going to be more.
Okay. Okay,
That brings us to 5.6 million.
and how much again for the capital complex? About 1 million?
Right now, it's just threw $1 million at it, but
So you're really at 1.5 and 1.5 for FY 26 and 27. Is that what you come up with too, Troy?
I have all of this to date, including the estimates to Montpelier, bringing us to 5.6 million. So, and we were at 3 million last
We're at
year,
6
3 million this year at 6.
6 million total, yeah. Okay. I just wanted to get a real flow, because there's a lot of money there, and I know takes time sometimes to get the permit or
Stormwater.
do the
No
construction.
pun intended.
When is this,
What'd you say, Mary?
when is this?
I just-
Or is that what is-
5 years from our first.
To get the flow.
What is it? 5 years?
5 years for what?
From when you get to have the work completed.
Yeah. And then are these all the rest, is this it for the projects? Or is there more in the pipeline? The
That's
three,
it.
that's it.
Until rules change.
Right.
I don't think that 2 acre rule is going anywhere this year.
Pulled permits for.
Well, that's
They
the
are
current law.
in the process.
3 acres.
Okay.
3 currently, yeah.
Are they looking at doing 2 acres?
That's what. the
I'm
code
making
is.
that up.
Yeah, well, you gotta be, we're on YouTube. Be very careful what is said, because,
Yeah, don't give anybody any ideas.
yeah, people will take things thinking that's what's. even though it
So
may not be.
can I just make sure I understood? So out of the 6 million, so 3 that exist and the 3 that you're asking for, your projects are roughly 5.6 million?
That's what it,
So with
basically.
Montpelier being greater than
And those are
100.
estimates, yeah.
They have a
okay.
little bit left in FY 27,
Right, but I mean, that's.
basically.
Yeah, okay.
So
Gina?
the permits are live for Pittsburgh, Waterbury and Middlesex.
Correct.
Is that correct? So couldn't we kind of prioritize those projects? Since the other ones don't have permits pulled yet and get 5 years from the end of the or from when the permit's pulled. You just see what I'm saying there? Like,
I am, but they already have 3 million from last year's capital budget that they're gonna be pulling to do those. They
yeah,
have 3 million FY 24 and 25. And that's gonna go towards Virginia's, Middlesex and Pittsburgh, because that comes up to 1.9 million, which then leaves you 1.1 million to add to the 1.5 for 26.
yeah. I'm just
You
wondering.
got 4.1, it went, after you do Virginia's, Middlesex and Pittsburgh, you have 4.1 million to go forward in.
Just wondering if we could shade that a little bit since it's not that time sensitive. It's like 5 years out, even from the date that they pull the permit.
I thought,
We can probably at least take 400.
would you do it in FY 26 or 27?
Probably 26, the short term, that way we can throw money back in there for some reason to get way farther with them, but I mean, the permits, it's gonna be a long process.
So they have 1.1 million in hand. So what, you're getting the permit right now for Waterbury. And you hope to go out to bid for construction in the spring of 26. And that is 700,000. So that would come out of the 1.1 that you already have in hand. Which then leaves you 400,000. And the next would be Newport and St. Albans.
Which are a million each,
And what?
which are a million each.
To a million each.
They're estimated to be a million each.
And that's for FY 26. So they would have 400 in hand after they do Waterbury. And add that to the 1.5 and FY 26 is 1.9 in FY 26. And Newport and St. Albans is 2 million, if they can get that out in FY 26.
Yes. Intent.
Hmm.
It's our intent.
So Gina has suggested possibly to cut it back by what, 400,000
Yeah.
in FY 26,
Yeah.
which brings it down to 1.1. What are people thinking?
I'm looking at
Well-
my friend over there, but
I'm curious, Joe, what's the anticipated FY 28, 29, 2 million for?
Venture cost overruns, I really don't know what Montpelier, Newport and St. Albans is really going to cost us. But we can do part of it, and maybe, if I'm going to do some of the work, I can do the work of capturing the water, but I may not be able to pave. I mean, the asphalt for pavement comes out of Canada. So does Fulton.
Tariffs.
Gravel's local.
We're in such.
Thank goodness.
Will there be tariffs on that?
Probably, yes.
By that point, there will be.
but I'd be all done.
They're going back and forth, so I don't know. They're happy, the next guy I'm not.
Well, that's gonna be an impact on our construction projects, other tariffs.
Or, gypsum board. Got a lot of that's come out of Canada. And so.
If we're gonna cut anything, I would prefer to do it out of 27, not 26,
That's fine.
if we're gonna cut anything.
Circle it.
Let's stick with Gina's 400.
Out of what lines?
Out of 27.
On 3
Acre,
acre.
FY 27.
So you're saying instead of 1.5, 1.1?
Yeah,
Stuck on my number.
I did. I like that. It's just because we have such a long time frame with this, and then even outlined what the penalty is if we're out of compliance on any of these.
I don't recall, I don't think it's.
Okay, because I'd be curious to know
Get help.
that.
Joe doesn't like them.
Joe on the record asking what's the rules.
$1 million or it's a strongly worded letter. There's-
No, it's like, it's more than 50,000 a year.
I don't read.
Some number.
Yeah,
So where are people on what Gina's put on the table for FY 27? We keep FY 26 at 1.5 and FY 27 at 1.1.
I'm good with it.
Not opposed.
I mean, I'd shake it.
Market that to 1.1,
Hmm?
27.
Yeah.
in 27, yeah.
We put a 1.1.
It's
1.1.
400 grand off it.
Are you,
No problem with it.
are you panicking, Joe, over there?
No.
Yeah. Boss might be.
Well, the joy.
Well, I take it here, I take it there.
We just gotta get that bill off the wall to repeal it.
The
It's not
joy.
going anywhere.
Everybody.
The joy is that if,
I
you
know.
know, you get all this done, then you have time to give that money back to you.
Yeah.
If we can
There
find
is certainly, you know,
Oh,
next year,
You don't
we'll
know
have a
this.
better idea where we're at.
I believe in you though.
Yeah, there's budget
And there is,
adjustment.
Okay,
and if for
Right,
some,
Brian?
and if for some reason it ramped up where they're getting done, we always have budget adjustments.
Yeah.
okay. Okay, let's see if there's other things that I had here. While Joe's in the room.
Just.
Yes, you are doing the same thing.
Well, actually, just you, Jeff. Yeah, it is.
I mean, you're the only person I've ever seen from the administration.
I'm always here. I don't see anybody.
And he always has a smile.
7 years, Joe. I've never seen anybody else from the administration.
We had Lauren Friedman yesterday.
And we go through, and we're having subcommittees working on A and R.
We gave.
Trust me.
It was good, Scott.
So I want to jump down to Middlesex, 12 and 13. We can do this really quick. I know it's tough, but the more we get this done, the less we're gonna have to work next week, because next week's gonna be crazy on the floor.
And you're going to the Vermont State Archives? That? and the
Yeah,
workshop?
12 and 13.
Yep, okay.
So we have $1 million for the archives in FY 27. And then we have print and postal, power supply,
That one was
the 250 cash
plus
in
58,000.
26.
Plus a reallocation.
58,277.44.
What do you mean reallocate? What am I missing?
Where we took money out of repo that we're gonna have to not withstand. That's the 58,000
Oh,
added to line
right.
13.
Repo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Because that one project is 308.
yeah, you've lost me on that, because I'm not thinking of repo. I'm just thinking what's that?
I'm just saying it's more than 250
Right.
by the time we're done with the
On number
spreadsheet.
13,
Yeah.
yes, I had a note that it was 308. but the
Yes.
58.
And that's what you need.
I have 38,000 from previous, it's 38,000.
No, but we are adding more than 250,000 with this budget.
Yeah.
Some of it is gonna be reallocated from, I think, 2019, if I remember right.
In the amount of $58,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm really lost on.
So when we were doing-
I'm lost.
We were doing repo and we were taking testimony from BGS. One of the things they said is, yes, there's $58,000 here, but we want to reallocate it to this project, to line 13. To do that, it's more than 5 years old. We're gonna have to notwithstand. We're gonna have to claw it back and then reappropriate it.
So this is gonna go up by 58,000.
Yes.
Yes, because the project is $308,000.
Yes.
You want the actual numbers right here?
It's gotta be 308. That's,
Yeah.
that's what you need to, did you have that, Scott?
The clawback,
You had the clawback, but did you have the 308,000?
I had not added it in.
Yeah, we need to add that. That's what the total amount is.
That's the number if you want.
It's 58, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not
277.
interested in that because I
No.
know that's later on in the bill. That's
Okay.
already calculated. I just need to know
The rough.
the line item for 13.
We're gonna fund
It's 308.
and I'll email it to you.
50.
Do we need language? Oh, we
Yeah, I think
don't need
we'll
language.
have to reallocate it, but.
So is there any roof there was previous, this is what I'm trying to. There was cash put in. There was cash put in, let me see if I can find it here, for roofing. You probably already know this and know where it is. Line 4 in our sheet for cash. There was roof replacement Central Services Complex in Middlesex. And there was $1 million, there was 921,000 that's left. And is there any roof at all that's going over the print and postal? Is that, or is it just in the archives part? Because it's a whole building in there, right?
Yes, there are two different levels of roofing. One, we already have funding for, and that is over the print postal area in the main entrance.
Is that the 1 million in cash?
1 million that we received from previous year.
That would be FY 24. Roof replacement at Central Services Complex in Middlesex. There's cash. And there's 921,000 left. Is that,
That is the lower roof over the print postal.
that's over print and postal? Okay,
Asked for this year is over the archives.
okay, that's what I wanted, because I knew we were doing a roof out there.
We're doing two roofs.
Right, so they're two separate roofs.
Correct.
And then in FY 27, in our world here, we have $1 million in FY 27 for the archives. Okay, just wanted clarity. That's just me, but I wanted the clarity. And then the roof on the archives, you're gonna have to have more money in case you get into more installation or whatever. When you start working on that.
We're hoping it's all gonna be great. We don't have to date leaks, so we're hoping for the best, but one of the hurts.
Okay. I think that's all I have for you, Joe.
Bill, I'd probably run while the lighting is good.
You only take the money when I'm in the room? Well, thank you.
No, again.
It was nice knowing all of you, but
No,
we'll see you
no.
next year.
No, I was thinking, so you're not asked any more
Okay.
questions.
Well, I have to leave in a few minutes anyway.
Yep, we're done. We're done. So for the committee, we're done for this morning. We will be back after the floor. This would be a good time, Scott, to have a new spreadsheet.
Oh. Somebody moving along.
First I've heard of this, Madam Chair.
You mean I could have that ready for
Yeah.
after lunch?
Have it ready?
Yes, pretty ready,
Okay,
yeah.
that's good.
So I just want to put this on the table. Okay? Before we, just so folks can think about this. We've been asked, I've been asked by the Appropriations Committee as well as the Speaker's Office to help free up some money to help our appropriations committees.
No.
Yeah.
Well, that was good.
Oh,
I just want to put that on the table.
How much?
Okay. Much as we can come up.
Okay.
I know where there's 3.1.
I had a conversation with the chair of Appropriations Committee about moving that, the 3Bs. We don't know where we're gonna end up with that, but at least moving it into the cash fund.
I think we have to, based on testimony from the treasurer. though.
So, so that would be a shift from bond to cash. Still. So, so whatever you see on the bottom line when we get the new spreadsheet, don't freak out. Could be good, could be bad. But we'll do some more adjustments as we go through. Okay? So let's go off of YouTube and we'll be